Today we're going to check out a track on Robben Ford's album Talk to Your Daughter. This was released in 1988. The actual track that we're going to look at is called Help the Poor. Now Robben's known for this kind of stuff, using the altered scale and the half-whole scale, and this is a really good example of that, so let's dive into it. First we need to know what the altered scale is. Let's look at the interval. Let's start on the root note, which is A. We go to the flat 2, the flat 3, the major third, the augmented fourth or the diminished fifth, the sharp 5, the flat 7, and then we're back at the root note. So the altered scale is often used over altered chords, and this is a dominant 7 chord with alterations or extensions added onto it. And that might be a flat 9, a sharp 9, sharp 5, flat 13, etc. Chords like this. So this scale works perfectly over it because it contains all of those altered notes. In the case of Help the Poor, the chord that we're going to be playing over is an A7, sharp 5, sharp 9. So we've got an A7 with a sharp 5 and a sharp 9. Quite a tense chord. Now this is what we call a functioning dominant chord because it leads back to our tonic of the entire song, which is D minor. So even though I said before A is our tonic, that's actually the tonic of the scale that we're going to be playing from, which is the 5 chord in the entire song. So I'm not going to go through the full chord progression, but in this case, he is playing, in the case of this lick, he is playing from the D minor, and then leading to the A7, and then he eventually resolves back to the D minor. So the lick starts with, which is a cool line in D minor, right? He's going from the perfect fourth and bending up, releasing to the minor third, and then to the root note, then hitting that perfect fourth again, minor third, and then going down root note, flat 7 to the 5th, right? And then that's when the A7 happens. And he hits this minus, I'm thinking in terms of A7 because that's the chord that we're now playing over. He hits the minor third of A7, bends it up a little bit, and then lands on the root note of A. And then he goes into the altered lick, which is the point of this video. So let's check it out. I'm going to play through it slowly and then we'll talk about it. Now there's a few really interesting things that are happening here. So it's purely the altered scale. So if we went through the scale in 2 octaves, we would have those notes. So let's check it out. So let's check out the lick in more depth. He's starting on the minor third of the A, going to the root note, sliding into the flat 2. It's quite cool. And then he's hitting the minor third again, sliding into the major third. Then he's crawling up to the sharp 5 and then the root note. Now this spells out an A7 sharp 5 chord, which I don't want to get too in depth with the theory, but is also considered a D, it would be a D flat sharp 5 as well, but it's also A7 sharp 5. Then he hits the minor third, right? Quite a cool sound because you've got that major third in there, as well as the minor third. So spelling out that sharp 9 in the chord, as well as the sharp 5 there. So far we've got this. And then he bounces off that again, and then returns to the root note. And then just goes down the sharp 5 and then the major third, part of what we played. And then he's going to play altered scale back down from the flat 7 to the sharp 5. Then we're going to skip the augmented fourth and go to the major third. Now I know these intervals are complex, but it's nice to talk about them, and hopefully this will build on your knowledge of intervals and scales in the long run. So if you don't quite grasp all of these intervals right now, keep working at it and you'll get it. And then we're going to slide down to the minor third. Right, so far we've got this. And then we're going to lead down to the flat 2, the flat 9, and then hit the root note of A, which actually lands on beat 1 of the next bar, which is where it resolves to the D minor. So we're landing on a chord tone of the D minor chord, which is amazing. Like, it's just such great voice leading from this line to land on that perfect fifth of D. So the whole lick sounds like this. So some really good parts in there. It's all altered scale. The key thing really is to note the triad in there, which is the A7 sharp 5. And then bouncing off of that minor third, I think sounds quite nice. And then descending down the scale, but skipping the augmented fourth, right? To then land on the perfect fifth of D. It's what we call nice voice leading, right? It leads perfectly to the chord tone on the downbeat, the strong beat, which is beat 1, where the chord change is. Now, if you want to get the rest of the lick, it goes like this. And that's just highlighting a D minor 9 chord, which is quite nice. Hitting the 5th, the 9th, back to the 5th, and then sliding from the flat 7 to the root note. And then he goes, that's the 9th, root note, and then bending up from the 9th to the minor third, and then resolving to the root note of D. So a great example of using the altered scale, specifically over a blues kind of progression from the 5 chord leading to the 1. That's the key thing. We're using it on a 5 chord or a functioning dominant chord that leads back to the 1. And it's a perfect example, and that's why he's such a master at it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you got something out of it. See you on the next one. Cheers.